Well, in that case, why don't we move on to the lady and gentleman who made this whole evening possible and even necessary. Why don't we start with the lady, Roberta Prada. Would you please tell us about your contribution to the book, which is the preface, the organization, the editing, and I assume recruiting all the wonderful people whom you robed into service to contribute to the book, the textual part.
Yes, that's true. Well, the book, in fact, started with the drawings. And the drawings started, should I tell them about this?
You can say what you want.
Okay. I needed permission for this. I had begun to study the work of Dr. Alfred Tomatis, who does a listening program that gets people more in touch with their creativity, and it's made of filtered Mozart. It sounds very odd. He is kind of a funny character. He unites the modern, which is filtered music, with Mozart, which isn't. And so after I had done this and I became very enthusiastic about it, I said, well, Francis, you're going to have to do it too. And one of the things that Dr. Tomatis says is when you're doing your listening, which sounds quite strange, you need to be doing something to distract yourself so you won't go nuts from the strange things that you're hearing. And knowing that Francis had already a career as an illustrator, I came home with gobs of paper and pens of various sorts, hoping to amuse Francis, because I knew it was going to be pretty tough for him to listen to all this weird stuff without trying to become a music critic. Anyway, when he was done with this, he began to appreciate his drawing again, which he left for some time. And the sorts of things that he began turning out were very strong and characterful, and he began turning his attention to caricatures of opera, first as black and whites, and then with a process that he can explain better than I. And soon we had a whole family of characters, of people, of caricatures of opera, about which we talk in a very animated way, as Aloma has suggested, as though they were our friends, or maybe the way people in the 80s used to talk about Dallas, or the way people used to talk about Jerry Seinfeld. That's the way we talk about opera characters. And we say, oh, well, what do you think they would do if they were doing that? Or what if this happened? What do you think? And so, you know, we have a very animated dialogue about this. So pretty soon we had just chock-a-block full of all these wonderful drawings. And we said, you know, we've got to do something with this. So one day, sitting at a kitchen table in Johannesburg, in his brother's kitchen, we said, yeah, we're going to do books. So we arbitrarily decided, yeah, we're going to do lots of books because we had lots of drawings. So we decided on 20. And then we went through the list of characters that we had, lots and lots, and we said, well, let's do some from column A and some from column B. And so we rounded up our operas, and then we said, well, how are we going to do this? And I said, you know, we could write this all ourselves, but maybe we would be boring. Maybe what we ought to do is get a whole bunch of people from various walks of life, various degrees of expertise, and various countries of the world. That was my big enthusiasm. So indeed, we cast a very wide net in our phone books. And we got some of our really dear friends, and we have some of them sitting right here. There is Igor, who wrote about Tatiana, and he was able to get his information off of Russian Wikipedia. So we learned quite a bit of terrific stuff we never would have found out. And his daughter Elena, who fell in love with the Queen of the Night, she's a pianist, she's a student, and so she said, I want to write about the Queen of the Night. So we said, okay. And then there is Joan, who's sitting back there, who is a voice teacher, and she wrote about the couple in Don Giovanni. And let's see, and Sheila, who wrote about Lakme, that wonderful, funky, crazy lady. And And who else do we have here? Aloma wrote this fantastic thing about the fascination in the 19th century for automaton. And because she wrote about Olympia. And Randy, who knows all about Handel and wrote about the capon, who sang Bertarido. He's the castrato, and he looks really funny, his illustration, but in fact, those are the kind of costumes they wore back then. And it, of course, is all inspired in the work of Francis, these wonderful drawings. And if we sell a whole lot of this book, we're going to be able to do book 2 and book 3, because we're all ready to go. So think of it as a Christmas or Hanukkah gift for everyone you know, and birthday, and Valentine's Day, and whatever.
And you can also get the cards, and you can get the illustrations signed, the posters, so there is plenty of opportunity to take the characters home with you and look at them every day of your life. Roberta, anything else?
No, I can't. Well, I'll tell you, it was a hell of a good time we had doing it.
It shows. It shows.